Hey everyone, and welcome to Behind the Score, another episode of the 30 Teams in 30 Days. Currently talking about the NL Central Division. And today, not only my favorite team in the National League, but my friend Sean Massacre. This is the team he loves. So, a big shout out to Sean Massacre. This episode is the St. Louis Cardinals. This is a team that's got very big history in Major League Baseball. Um, to me, would be talked about as one of the elite teams, especially when it comes to history. And lots of great players, lots of great managers have gone through here. So we'll get started by talking about the rotation positions. Starting off with catcher, this guy really doesn't need an introduction. People know him around the league everywhere. To me, he's one of the best catchers to ever play the game. Whether he makes the Hall of Fame or not is a different story, but I think this guy definitely deserves to be there. So without further ado, the catcher will be Yadier Molina. And backing him up if he ever gets a chance will be Tyler Heineman. Because if anybody knows about Yachty or if he can play, he's going to be in there. So there's not many days off to get in there as a backup. He's bats right and he'll be near the middle of the lineup. Uh, Paul Goldschmidt at first. He also bats right, somewhere right near the middle. Uh, Tommy Edman playing second, switch hitter. No big addition in a trade this season with Colorado. It would be bringing over Nolan Arenado. That's a big addition. This guy who played for the Rockies. They were looking to move him and his salary, try to cut some payroll there. They definitely found a suitor in the St. Louis Cardinals. So we'll see if he can get back to the talent that he definitely has and can be a big addition there. Um, Paul DeJong will play shortstop. That's right. Tyler O'Neill be the left field. He bats right. Dylan Carson looks to be the center fielder, switch hitter. And that rounds out the roster positions. Utility guys, we got Lane Thomas, Matt Carpenter, who was a big guy in the infield, would normally be projected to play third. Got a bump there, but he definitely is a versatile guy to play around the infield, so I don't see him having a problem getting playing time. Edmundo Sosa and John Nogowski. So we'll look at the pitchers. Big young guy. He's been doing well over the last two seasons. His first start out this spring training wasn't as great, but definitely see him having another big year would be Flaherty. Mikolas, Wainwright returning there with Molina, Hyun Kim, and Carlos Martinez, Daniel Ponce de Leon. Would be the pitchers there. So we'll move up to look to see what the 2021 lineup might look like. I got Carson starting off in first. Bader at second. Would be the center fielder. We're going to put Arenado in at third. He's got power, can get on base, and hoping he has a big season with his new team. So I slot him in at third. Of course, Goldschmidt with his power playing at first base, so I put him in the cleanup spot. He should get a lot of RBIs and home runs there. Another big season. Next, I have in fifth would be either Edman at second or even Carpenter. Carpenter, like I said, a utility guy, plays well, move around the middle of the lineup. So watch to see that position might be one that they platoon at. Yadier Molina, I got him batting sixth. Paul DeJong at seventh. O'Neill at eighth, and of course, being the NL, without a designated hitter, Flaherty batting in ninth. So other storylines of this team. Will Carlos Martinez prove himself? This is a guy that started out very well there a couple seasons ago. Or it might even be 3 seasons now when he was having his great season. He definitely showed he could pitch. Then got injured. Didn't do so well when he came back. Started in the bullpen there. Really couldn't find his groove. So not sure what happens there, but hopefully he can get in the pitching rotation. And as for the pitching rotation, start out with Flaherty, Mikolos, Wainwright, then Yan Kim, and then either Carlos Martinez or Daniel Ponce de Leon. The bottom 3 there could almost be interchangeable depending on who does well during spring. Will Arenado trade work out? This is a big one, big time money, big time length of the contract. It's a big question mark there. If he can put up what his contract would kind of lead you to believe, it definitely will work out to being the Cardinals, definitely getting greatness out of that trade. But if he starts to have a disastrous season and can't get back to what he does normally, then this could be another Stanton situation like in New York, where it's just a big time contract, waste of money, waste of time, but somebody's got to pay it, and it's going to be hard to move. Will this be Molina's last season? I'm not quite sure whether it will be or not. I hope not, but he is getting up there. One thing I would have loved to have seen with this team, but they have Albert Pujols come back to Cardinals for one last run there. I know a lot of Cardinals fans were very upset when he went and signed with the Angels out of Cardinals there. But I think one last year, one last run there with Molina to end their careers together in the same spot, and especially with the Cardinals, would be a big St. Louis moment there for sure. Will Matt Carpenter get his playing time? Like I said, with Edman at second base, it's definitely not going to be at third except for days off. Arenado's pretty secure there at third, but definitely has versatility, so I definitely see him getting maybe not the playing time he used to get, but they'll definitely find time for him to play, that's for sure. Can they top the Cubs? I think they can. Just like the Astros, I see the Cubs window is pretty much closed there. Stay tuned into the Cubs and for the Blue Jays, there's a big secret that might be coming out there, or a big projection by me, so make sure you stay tuned to these episodes, and because there'll be a lot of things going forward that might be not quite what everybody predicts to have happen for my predictions. So it's definitely going to be fun. So make sure you keep tuning in. And I guess also to finish out this one, the players to watch for this team, definitely Matt Carpenter. Where does he fit in with this lineup? Where does he play? How much does he play? It's definitely a storyline to watch going through the season. Is he somebody that eventually could get moved at some point? Maybe even a trade deadline. We'll see what happens there. But Matt Carpenter is definitely going to get some playing time in St. Louis. Carlos Martinez, again, with the pitching, like I said, can he return to form? Can he get that starting rotation spot through the spring? Or does he go back to the bullpen? Or this time does they try to find a new home for him to pitch somewhere else? Maybe the big lights, kind of like in New York, where some players just have a hard time struggling to play in big time moments in big ballparks. So maybe him moving on to another team like the Rangers or moving on to Seattle or something with the lower market might be able to give him that boost that he needs to get back to the player he once was. Dylan Carson, outfield number one. Like I said, the outfield is the weakest part about this team, in my perspective. So we'll see what happens there. Whether O'Neill can have a great season, Dylan Carson, what happens with him. It's definitely a spot that I think there'll be more question marks than some other places. So we'll see what happens there. Matthew Liberatore, left-handed pitcher number 3. And Zach Thompson, the left-handed pitcher number 5 in the organization. Well, that concludes another episode of 30 Teams in 30 Days here on Behind the Score. Again, I'd like to give a big shout out to my friend Sean Massacre for this episode. This is his favorite team, my favorite team of the National League. Red jerseys here. So you got the Birds in both leagues. But yeah, so just remember, it's not always the interesting stuff that happens in the game. It's also what's behind the score. Thanks for tuning in and have a great day.